Welcome to episode 5 of Law of Attraction and Bible Mysteries. Today we are going to be talking about the story of Adam and Eve. The story of Adam and Eve covers a few metaphors regarding the story of yourself. Let us begin with the Garden of Eden. The garden is a metaphor for your own mind, not just your physical mind, but the non-physical as well. Eden refers to paradise, or a place of pleasure, or a place of peace. It is referring to the place which holds all that you can ever wish for, which is of course your own wonderful imagination. Adam and Eve, when we look at the words in regards to their meaning, go back to the words odd and even. The word odd, contrary to what mainstream definitions tell us, means point of focus. The word odd goes back to the meaning which refers to the odd one out, which itself goes back to the old ways of voting. A third party would be brought in to create a majority vote, and this third party would be known as the odd one out, meaning they would be the point of focus for the result. The idea of this meaning of point of focus comes back to the word odd, meaning the point of a piece of land. That is the point which sticks out ahead of the land, which becomes a focal point itself. Adam means point of focus, the part of the brain which is will, for the will is that energy which moves ahead, which penetrates the subconscious, and will is of course your own point of focus. Eve refers to the word even. What you dominantly focus on evens itself out in physical reality. Eve also refers to the subconscious because it is the subconscious, of course, which absorbs will and evens out your dominant thought patterns into your own physical experience. Adam and Eve, in this sense, share the same metaphorical meanings as the lovers from the tarot deck. They are allegorical of your own will and subconscious. Now we are told that Eve comes from Adam's rib. Well, the short answer to this allegory is simply referring to two which are one. This means there are not two independent minds, but rather male and female, or will and subconscious, are two forms or two ways in which one mind operates, such as will, the moving energy, and then the subconscious, which absorbs and creates from will. This is one mind. Now God said not to eat the fruit from the tree of knowledge, which simply refers to the physical material mind. Adam and Eve were told only to eat from the tree of life, which is referring to pure imagination. The tree of life is interesting because the allegory of the tree is throughout Scripture, and often refers to the vagus nerve, which has its own relationship with meditative visions. The instructions here are simple. It is to believe in imagination and ignore the outside world, for the outside world is what imagination creates. When Adam and Eve discovered each other naked, there is a reference to duality. You may think duality and doubt have no link, but duality is where the word devil comes from, which will be discussed more in depth in another video. But the word devil means doubt. Duality is doubt, because one has chose to see the world not as whole, but as dualistically, meaning when one looks dualistically to the outside world, one has doubt, one has questions. But there is only the one creator, of course, but how one wishes to perceive this creator is exactly how the creator will present itself. This is where we now talk about the serpent and language. The serpent is allegorical of the question mark. Why? Because when one questions, one is not knowing. When you know, there is no question. And the way Scripture presents this to us is utterly poetic and simply wonderful. What is an answer? Well, an answer is an exclamation, an undeniable affirmation, symbolically represented by the exclamation mark. So when one straightens out the question, one gets the answer because the answer is in the question. We know this because when Moses threw down the staff, that is the exclamation mark, it immediately turned into a serpent. That is a question. Moses then grabbed the serpent by the tail to literally straighten out the staff again. So knowing this makes the serpent in Eden very interesting, for it is simply referring to the slippery dualistic thoughts of the material mind. And here is how we know this. The snake said, "Ye will be like God, knowing good and evil." Now pay attention to what has been said, and from listening to other videos on how one must unite opposite words to get a holy meaning in Hebrew, see if you can straighten out the question into an answer. The answer is all within the language. Good and evil in Hebrew is tov wara. When you combine two words in Hebrew, which you can because it's part of the creative structure in Hebrew, you get the word Torah, which simply means holy instruction. There is no good and evil. There is only good and evil if you choose to split up what is whole. Only the Creator exists. Now it says you will be like God, but when one sees the holy meaning, one will not be like God. One will realize that they are the Creator. What the serpent was saying was not arrogant. What the serpent says is not overinflating the reader's power. It is actually undermining the power of the reader. For you are not like God, you are God. It is the serpent who is the doubtful one, the questioning one which you must grab by the tail, just like Moses, and straighten out so you may know who you truly are. The banishing of Adam and Eve from the Garden of Eden is simply the banishing of doubt. It is the banishing of duality. When the mind thinks holy, there is no division, and this is why the cherubim, which means delight, was mentioned at the end as Adam and Eve left the garden. The delight is feeling of wholeness. It is a feeling of knowing. God's voice in the garden is your own higher holy voice. It is that voice which cannot be seen, but it can still be heard, and most of all, it can still be felt. It is that which gives you advice when your mind is rested, and it is the advice which seems to come from nowhere, somewhere outside of the physical mind. It is inspiration, and it is sound advice. The instruction here in Scripture is telling you to get rid of thoughts that divide and see everything as one. That is, to see everything as God and to know only the Creator, because you are the creator of your own reality.